Painted Tavern, a place where the stories flow as freely as the beer. And today we are doing a beer review, but not one beer review, not two beer reviews. We'll be served up with beers, whiskies, wines, and more than a smattering of whiskey-fueled wisdom. So today we've got through some beer reviews, but not one beer review, not two beer reviews, but many beer reviews in only a few minutes. So let's beer tasting marathon is Fuller's ESB, that's extra special bitter. Bill is a legendary ale. It comes in at 5.9%. This is a 500ml bottle. I'm using a traditional dimple beer glass to consume this supposedly legendary ale. Now I met the current Lord Fuller back in the day. I was working on the BBC TV series Lacquer's to Candlefoot. I worked on that for several years. I was a villager in the series. A glorified extra really, but because it was set in Victorian times, people didn't travel so much then. So the same faces tended to be seen a lot, and I did several episodes. Eventually my character was given a name. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Mr. Stokes. And I had a scene in the post office in Lacquer's to Candlefoot, I think, with Dawn French, and a number of the other actors in the series. Mark Eat was brilliant, shout out to Mark Eat. But I met Lord Fuller. We were filming in Lord Fuller's mansion was used to create the grounds of both Lacquer's and Candlefoot, and I met the current Lord Fuller. I was a lot younger then, and I was in my bit Bolsh, I'm working class, and as far as I'm concerned, this guy was hyper posh, hyper wealthy, hyper rich, so he couldn't really be a nice guy. How wrong was I? Lord Fuller was a lovely guy. We were filming during the winter for season 2, I think it was, and it was freezing. And he went out one day and he came into one of the barns, a disused barn on the ground that we were using to shelter in, to eat in, whatever, to hang around in between takes. And he brought out of his own pocket a few heaters and he brought us in a nice crate of Fuller's beer. I don't think it was ESB, it was actually Fuller's London's Pride, which is probably the most well known. So, Fuller's ESB legendary ale. It comes in at 5.9%. It's a nice coppery colour in the glass. It's got a one finger head there at the top. I'm going to take a quick vape. Milf's Milk, this is called, this juice. Milf's Milk, it's quite nice, it tastes like custard cream. But let's get on to the beer. So Fuller's ESB, extra special bitter, good carbonation in the glass. You can see the bubbles working it up. This looks like a traditional beer. It smells like a traditional beer. And oh my god, it tastes like a traditional beer. This is a type of pint you could have been pulled in any pub, any public house, decades ago. The flavour profile you get here would not have been that different. This is superb stuff. So that's Fuller's ESB Extra Special Bitter Legendary Ale. Top marks. Let's move on in our beer marathon. Cheers. Guinness Original. This is where it all started. 4.2%. I prefer this to the Guinness Nitro or the Guinness Draft or any of the other variations on Guinness these days. This is, as far as I'm concerned, Guinness Original is where it's at. Guinness Original. In the video, you're now okay. Now our next review is Badger Brewery's Blandford Fly. Badger Brewery, a long established brewery. They were established in 1777 according to my notes. What's also interesting for this review is what's in my pipe. the tobacco that's in the bowl here. It's what we call a Frankenstein blend. In that it's made up of, when you buy a tin or a pouch of tobacco, you get a few bits at the bottom of the tin, you know, not enough for the bowl, so you pour it into a jar, and over time that jar builds up and up and up, and that's what we call a Frankenstein mix. Now what I would have done back in the day with this is I would have emptied any remnants of tobacco in whatever tobacco I happened to buy, and back then I was a much bigger pipe smoker than I am now, so I bought a lot of tobacco. And also on times there may be a tobacco I'd buy that was new to me, I'd experiment with it, I didn't really like it, and I thought I can't smoke this, so that would go in there as well. And when it fills to the actual top of this storage jar here, and as you can see I've smoked quite a bit of this, but when it filled to the top I poured in a bottle of Jack Daniel's whiskey, more specifically Gentleman Jack, and when I say a bottle I mean a miniature, and I did that on the 30th of January 2015. So this tobacco, which likely contains stuff like Condo, St. Bruno, Clan, Erin Moore, and countless other tobaccos that I would have tried. I think there's a bit of Frogmorton in there. But you know, the end result is a really good spicy smoke. It's also nice and it's quite unique. Okay, so let's get back to the job at hand, and that is our beer reviews. This one is it's from Badger Brewery. It's called the Blandford Fly. It's a gold nail at 5.2%. Now gold nail is blonde ale in all but name. Blonde nails and gold nail, the name is interchangeable. They're both the same. According to the back of this bottle, deep in the reeds of the river Stow lies in wait, patience and ready for an unsuspecting party. Once feared by those who fish these waters was the ferocious bite of the infamous Blandford Fly. Craftier fishermen knew of a different Blandford Fly, one with a sweeter side and refreshing notes of ginger, meant to soothe this dastardly fly's bite. And with hints of toffee to offset the spice, we practically all agree this unique gold nail is quite the catch. Well, I'll be the judge of that when I get it open. And there we go. Whoops, top's off. I do like this Badger Brewery logo. There's definitely a lot of Latakia leaf in this Frankenstein blend, which is not surprising really, because I do like Latakia. I like its earthy, leathery texture, so I do tend to buy a fair few. Latakias. I quit pipe smoking for a number of years because I used to have a chronic cigarette smoking problem. Now I've given up smoking cigarettes for 6 years now, and I only use my vape. But I will still smoke a pipe. But for the first couple of years of giving up cigarette smoking, I was afraid to try a pipe because I thought it would hurl me back down those stairs towards constant smoking, but it hasn't. And when the weather's really nice, because I can't smoke in the house, although my wife's away at the moment, which is why I'm indulging myself. When the weather's nice, for the few months of the year that the weather's nice, I may have a few pipes, perhaps 2, maybe 3 of an evening, sitting outside. But for most of the year then, and it is most of the year, if you know the British summer, I don't smoke a pipe at all, because you can't smoke in the house and the weather is way too inclement, and I'm not sitting in the shed. So pipe smoking remains to me a way to appreciate the nuances of tobacco without going down that dreadful addiction route. But let's go back to the beer, though I am quite pleased with this. Okay, the Blandford Fly from Badger Brewery. Bill was a golden ale. I'm going to hold it. There's a fair bit of carbonation in there, a lot of carbonation. I can see the bubbles racing up the glass. It's quite visually poetic scene looking through this at the light, especially with Pink Floyd playing in the background there on the nose. Very citrusy. Oh my gosh. The ginger is prominent in there. It's got a spicy kick, but you can taste that ginger. Do you know, when I was a kid I used to love dipping a ginger in my tea, but these days that's classed as bullying. Well, yeah, and it's not nice, I suppose, you know, to say things like that. I mean, a few years back a lot of ginger people got together to form a kind of pressure group because gingerism, as they called it, is probably the last clinging vestige of racism, and so they started this pressure group in order to address the issues of the way gingers were spoken about in the media, and they even organized a demo, a big massive march to prove their point. So yes, they did this demo, or rather they almost did this demo, because the sun came out and they decided against it. It is ginger. The main thing about this is the ginger taste, but it's got that malty, hoppy, it's very sweet. Taste the sugar. That's probably the ginger. But this is definitely a gingery lead drink. A blind man walked into a bar, and a door, and a stool. A dung beetle walks into a bar. Is this stool taken? And that's one of the few things you can't say in a gay club. If you go into a gay club, believe me, I know this from experience, but if you go into a gay club, please don't say to someone, "Excuse me, could I push your stool in, please?" Let's go back to the beer. It's okay, very gingery, sweet. Billed on the bottle as sweet and spicy with hints of toffee and ginger notes. Well, they're certainly right about the ginger notes. It's okay, but it wouldn't be a regular drink for me. I'm glad I've tried it. It has instilled in me the need to try some more beers from Badger Brewery, but this is not really my thing. But if you like a sweet, for instance, this could be something like a seasonal Christmas beer, you know, billed as a Christmas ale. I can see that. I'm going to finish this glass though. Cheers!